And so it opened me enough that one night I had this dream. I'm in a castle, medieval period, and very just cold, bare room. And I'm on a cot over by the far wall. The door over here. And suddenly, in the middle of the night, it just burst open, and the room is flooded with light. And six figures in black robes, hooded, went along the far wall and stood facing me. I couldn't see their faces. And the seventh figure just floated towards me and just suspended in the air, spoke to me telepathically and said, "Hold out your hand." So I held out my hand. And then I saw a knife blade. I pulled my hand back.
Yeah.
And then the voice said, "We don't mean to harm you. We only want you to know the pain." So I put my hand back up. Knife goes right through my hand. I woke up like, what?
Oh my
What?
goodness.
What was that?
Yeah.
And for 2 days I'm wandering around like, what was that? So in my office I have this big map of the world on the wall. And I'm looking at it and walking around in circles trying to figure out this thing, and a voice just kind of went through me and said, "Goes to your grandfather."
The same voice in the
A
dream?
different voice.
Okay.
This voice was, I can't even describe it as a voice. Well, sound is a vibration, right? So it was a vibration. It was deep and you could hear it. And go see your grandfather. And I'm like, what? My grandfather's been dead for 10 years. Go see your grandfather. Okay. My favorite mode of travel was a train. I love trains. I lived in Boston. He's buried in West Virginia, right near the family land. Okay. So I take a train, and halfway between Boston and New York, coming back from the men's room, there's a man standing at the bar, brown skin, short cut hair, salt and pepper, big thick salt and pepper beard, nice looking, beautiful eyes. They almost looked sad, but they didn't. They kind of turned and had that little mischief at the corners. And I said, "Excuse me, what's your name?" And he looked at me like, "Who are you?" Like, my name is Charles Fox, and you look familiar. You feel familiar to me. Like I know you from somewhere. He says, "My name is Bruce Knox." "Well, what do you do?" "I'm a monk." "A monk? I never heard of black monks before." "Well, meet my traveling companion, Alvin Fong Ben. Part Chinese, part African, raised in Jamaica, been trained as a Jesuit monk, and he was going to be the abbot of this new monastery that a first black monastery in the United States was going to have 7 members.
Wow.
True. Black hoods, robes.
Stop.
Now, I hadn't put that together yet
Yeah.
because I'm a little dense. so, wow. We started talking more, and we ended up exchanging information, contact information, and they went on their way. I continued on my journey. I get down. My cousins meet me in Washington because they live out in West Virginia, and it's just a commute out there. Everybody commutes in. And they drove out. They took me out to. We went up from there on the train out to Charlestown, West Virginia, and got in their car, and they dropped me off at the cemetery and left me there. And it's an area where I grew up as a kid, so I knew the area really well. I always went out to my grandfather's or grandmother's land. And I stood there at my grandfather's grave, and my grandmother's buried next to him. I said, "Well, Papa, I don't know why I'm here, but I came." And I laid down between him and my grandma and went to sleep. Took a nap. It was a beautiful sunny day. I said, "Oh, maybe I'll hear something," and I just laid down. And then nothing happened. I got my cousin came and picked me up. Aunt Bertha wants to know if you watch the kids while she goes to the NAACP meeting. Sure, no problem. And there I get a phone call. How this person knew Charles Ruggiero. I met him before, who was a filmmaker, and he was working at the U.S. Information Agency. He was a native of Brazil, Argentina, but became U.S. citizen now. Asked if I could come meet him when I'm back in Washington. I'm like, man, how'd you know? I said, oh, somebody told me you were going to be down this way. I said, okay. Went to meet him. He said, look, we're doing a documentary and we need some help on some research since you're up in Boston on the influence of Islamic architecture in the West. I said, okay. So I go up to MIT, go to Harvard when I get back. After MIT, I go up to Harvard campus. And when I get to Harvard's campus, right in Cambridge Square, Harvard Square, Cambridge, is a wall that goes all around the campus like that, and there was a banner all along the wall that said, "The Image of Black and Western Art Exhibit, Du Bois Center, the Du Bois Institute." Check this out. Two very wealthy philanthropists had commissioned two French historians to mine the archives of the Vatican and dig out this research and images on Africans that was on exhibit. Now, it wasn't the original art. There were copies of the art, some of which was sculpture, some was ceramic pottery, some was like reliefs. And I walked along, and there was a story about Maurice, Saint Maurice, which in Latin means Moor, and he had been a general of a Roman legion on the Isle of Thebes, converted to Christianity, and out of devotion to him, the entire Roman legion converted to Christianity. Wow. And so Caesar said, you better come here and see me in Rome about this, finding another god. And he did. Caesar said to him, look, I am the divine one. I am of divine lineage. Now, to show your devotion to me, I want you to kill these Christians in the Colosseum. Maurice refused to do that, so he was beheaded. Later, during the Crusades, Italian and German knights wore the image of this black man on their armor, St. Maurice, to war. I never knew about such a hero. Yeah. And then, moving down, there's another story about Abba Moses. This is what blew my tree. Abba Moses, Father Moses, had been enslaved by Arabs, escaped. A rather large, formidable man formed a gang of sorts and robbed caravans on the deserts. He later converted to Christianity, and he became sort of revered as a kind of a mediator of sorts. If a village where, a tribe is made up of many families, and so if one family starts to fight another family, that can be the destruction of the whole tribe. Yeah. So they have to keep tight in unity for survival. So when they have this conflict, someone stole something or someone offended me, this has to be resolved. So they called Abba Moses to mediate. So he takes a goatskin flask, fills it with sand, and as he enters the village, he dumps it out. And he says, all my sins pour out behind me like these grains of sand. Yet you ask me to pass judgment on another man? So the way that he approached problem solving, first holding yourself accountable, influenced the other young men, and they began to study and learn from him, and they became known as the Desert Fathers, the first African monks. I was so excited. I got back to my house. I was like, wow, guess what? And
That's crazy.
I called the monks that I
Yeah.
had met on the train. I said, guess what? I said, I never heard of black monks. It was, the origin was in Africa. Da, 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 da. And what really flipped me out was, I got back and I looked at that map on the wall. The Sahara Desert is 2,000 degrees north latitude. No, it's not right. 42 degrees north latitude. And they said they were forming their first monastery in Houston, Texas, which is exactly 42 degrees north parallel. I mean, it was just a weird thing. I
No
said,
way.
boo-doo-doo-doo.
Yeah.
So I called the monks, and they said, well, hey, come and share your information with us. We'll send you a ticket.
Mhm.
I didn't know they were trying to recruit me. So I'm going to the car, and I better go check my mail first. And in the mailbox was a little blue piece of paper from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, folded up letter size. So I stapled and put it in my pocket. On the plane, I opened it up, and it's a request for proposals from independent producers. And they're looking for ideas on matters of life and death in America. And so I folded up, put it back in my pocket. So now I'm in Houston. Brother Bruce, it's his week to do the domestic chores while the other brothers do their ministerial work, spiritual work, teaching in the community, in the schools and stuff. And so he's cleaning up, and now he's preparing dinner. I'm in the kitchen as he's preparing this meal, my first day there. So, Brother Bruce, how long have you been a monk? Well, I'm not quite a monk yet. I'm a novice right now, and soon I will go through a ritual which symbolizes me dying of secular life and being reborn in monastic life. Pull the paper out of my pocket and say, by the way, life and death in America. This is an interesting approach. Would you be interested in doing a documentary on this? And then he says, well, you got to talk to the Abbot and the other brothers. And we got it all worked. I submitted a budget to Corporation for Public, and that was my first independent film.
Oh, cool.
And I won an award for The Calling.
Wow.
All from a dream, me following a dream.
That's crazy.
And so that really started me to trust my inner guidance.
Yeah.
It really got me to really have respect for that because it's not encouraged,
Yeah.
you know? And I started really paying attention to that. And